Hi there. Well, I hope you're as excited as I am today to show you how to use your new Singer SM024. I think you're really going to like this machine. It's got some great features on it, great for beginners. So I think you will find it very handy and easy to use. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just plug in your machine. Once you have it out and on the table, you'll notice that it comes with a foot and then your power cord. It's all one assembly. So the foot is going to go on the floor. That's basically your gas pedal to the machine. The three-pronged outlet here is going to go directly into the right side of the machine, and then you've got your plug into the wall. Once you have that all plugged in, there is a button on the right-hand side of the machine, right underneath the wheel, that you can turn the machine on. Once you turn that on, the light will come on and you are good. So now that you have your machine all plugged in and the light on, we'll go through some basic setup procedures to get you on your way. First, we're going to teach you how to wind a bobbin, and then we're going to thread your machine. And I'm going to show you how to use the needle threader. This machine has an option. You can either thread the needle or the machine can thread the needle. So I will show you how to do that, and then we're going to load your bobbin. Once we complete those simple steps, we'll go through a couple of stitch options and sew on some paper and fabric, and you will be on your way. All right, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how to wind your bobbin. This is necessary as it is the bottom stitch. We're going to use pink thread for our bottom stitch and red thread for our top stitch. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is take your thread here and place it on one of the spool pins. These spool pins go up and down, so you'll definitely want one up when you start to thread your machine, or anytime you're using the machine, you want your spool pin up. So then you're going to take your thread and you're going to wrap it around the tension disc right here. This tension disc is only used when winding the bobbin, so you won't use it at any other time. Once you have the thread wrapped around your tension disc, you're going to take your plastic bobbin, which is right here. It has a hole at the top or at the bottom. It doesn't matter which one you use, but you're going to just feed your thread right through that hole. Once you have it through the hole here, you're just going to come over and place it on the bobbin pin right here. It just snaps down there. Okay, so once that is on there, in order for this bobbin to start to have the ability to wind, you have to engage this by moving it over to the right. This stops the lever from going up and down when it is in this position. So once you have it in this position, you're actually going to use your machine foot to wind the bobbin. So gently press down on the machine foot, and you're going to notice that it's going to start winding the bobbin. At some point you can stop it and you can just cut your little tail off. Once you've loaded up this bobbin to how much ever you want, if it's a color that you're going to use quite a bit, just go ahead and fill it on up. You're just going to gently cut this off. You're going to move your bobbin back to the left position. That's going to engage the lever. So you're now if you were to press your machine foot, your needle will go up and down. So just take your bobbin off and you are ready to go. Okay, now that we have wound our bobbin with the pink thread, that's for the bottom stitch, we're going to actually thread the machine for the top stitch with red thread. So go ahead and place your thread on top of the spool pin. Next, you're going to take your red thread and fit it right into this thread guide. That's step number 1. Once it's in the thread guide, it's not going to come out. So if you need to take it out, you have to gently pull it out. So go ahead and put this into the thread guide. Try to make sure it doesn't get stuck into the lever. Once you have it in the thread guide, you're going to drop your thread down through this channel, and it's literally going to go to the left and come back up. So each one of these steps is labeled. So the thread guide was number 1, and then we've taken it down to where our tension is, which is number 2, and then we're going to bring it back up and we're going to place it in our lever. This is step 3. So once you have it in step 3, you're going to bring it back down. So I'm going to show that to you one more time. You're going to place your thread on the spool pin. Number 2, you're going to place it right inside the thread guide. You're going to drop it down where the tension is, right in here. You're going to bring it down to the bottom, move it to the left, and you're going to come back up, and then you're going to place it into your lever. Once you have it in your lever, you're going to come back down and place it right behind this thread guide. That's step 4. Here's a slightly better view of step 2. After you've put your red thread into the thread guide, when I say cut, you're going to come down through this channel where your tension is, and you're going to just come over to the left here and then back up. So I hope you can see that just a little bit clearer. Once you have it up through your lever, you're going to come back down and put it right behind this thread guide right here. And that's going to make sure it fits all the way behind there. Okay, now that we have steps 1 through 4 completed, we're going to move on to step 5, which is just placing your thread behind the next thread guide, which is right here. And now we can thread the needle using the automatic threader. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure that your needle is in the most upright position. So just because your lever is all the way up doesn't necessarily mean that your needle is all the way up. So go ahead and take your wheel and turn it towards you to make sure that it is up all the way that it will go. Next, you'll want to do, to allow more room, is drop your foot. There is a black lever right underneath your machine that you're going to want to drop, and that will lower your foot down. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see this process. It takes a little bit to do. Sometimes you'll get it on the first try, sometimes you won't. Just don't give up. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your thread, and there is your threader is right here, this white lever. it has two positions. It has a down position, and then if you go, it goes down once. If you go down a little further, you're then able to turn it, okay? So what we're gonna do is you're gonna bring this down, and you're gonna take your thread and you're gonna go right over the top of your little duck head, okay? So you're gonna take it right over the top of the duck head, and then you're going to duck head, and then you're gonna come under the beak, just like that. So once again, you're gonna take your thread, go over the top of the duck head, under the beak. Once you have it under the beak, push it the rest of the way down and push it away from you so that this little U-shape hook hugs the needle right here. Once that hugs the needle, you're going to take your thread and you're going to go right underneath that hook, okay? Once you have it underneath the hook, you're going to hold the thread up, just like that, okay? If you hold it too far down, it's not going to work. So you're going to want to hold it up. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to let go of this. It's going to stay, and then you're gently going to kind of tap it towards you, and you're going to see the thread is actually going to go inside the needle. So let's see if we can get this to work. So you see that? That means it went through. So all you do is come inside here, and you're going to draw your thread through. My thread's really long because I've been practicing a little bit. Okay? So your thread, you've now just threaded your needle. We'll do that one more time. I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to see if I can get in just a tad bit closer. So you can see this process a little bit closer. It's hard to tell how well this is filming. So let's get a little bit more thread here. Get it behind that thread guide. Okay, so we're going to bring our threader down. We're going to come over the top of the duck head. Going to come over the top of the duck head and underneath the beak. Okay, so you're underneath the beak. Press it down a little bit farther. Push it away from you until this metal U shape is hugging the needle, and you're going to go right underneath that. So the thread is in front of the needle, but it's underneath that U-shape hook, okay? So you're not going behind the needle. You're going in front of the needle, right underneath that hook. You're going to hold your thread up a little bit, and then you're going to just tap this until it goes. And there you go. Voila. It's through there. So there you go. That's all there is to it. Once that's up, you can just bring your foot up, and now we can move on to threading our bobbin. All right, so the last step of this process is we just need to put our thread into where the bobbin goes. So we're gonna thread your bobbin so we get that bottom stitch. Okay, so you're going to take this arm off right here. This just comes right off and it pops right back on. This is going to be handy for you when you're sewing pant legs or sleeves, anything that might need to just fit around here where you have a tight fit and that you need to stitch all the way around something. It's not flat. So this arm's just going to come off, and by the way, you do have a little compartment right here that has some tools in there. So be sure when you unwrap your sewing machine and get it all set up that you pull out your baggie full of tools there, because you're going to need them. So go ahead and take off the arm. Your bobbin is located in the secret compartment right down here. It isn't visible to the top. Older machines, you can see the bobbin visible on the top of the machine. This one has a nice little compartment down below that makes it easy. And actually threading the bobbin is quite simple on this machine. So let's get a different angle and a close-up, and I'll show you how to put that together. So now that you have your machine threaded, your needle is threaded, we're going to now place your bobbin with your pink thread in this little compartment right here. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to notice that this has a little hook right here about 9 o'clock, okay? This arm always stays at 12 o'clock. It's got a little notch that it fits right into. So to take this bobbin holder out, you're just going to open that latch right there, and it's going to slide out for you, okay? So you're just going to take it out. Once we put the bobbin in, or the threaded bobbin in, you're just going to put it back on here. To get it back in, you do have, it won't just push back in. You do have to hold up on this little hook here and then push it back in. So it just fits right back on there. So go ahead and pop that off. Okay, you have it off. Just set it down for a second. You're going to take your thread, and the easiest way I have found to do this is to make a figure 6, okay? So you've got a little figure 6 with your thread, just like that, okay? Once you have that done, you're gonna take your bobbin here, and you're gonna keep that in the noon position and this over at 9 o'clock, and you're just going to set that right on top of there, okay? So once you have it on top, you're going to notice that a little bit on the left-hand side, so right where that latch was at 9 o'clock, okay, if you flip it over here, there is a little slit right here, okay? That's where your thread is gonna go. So you're actually going to put your thread in that little notch, okay? Then you're gonna notice that there is a slight, this metal piece right here fits really snug on here, but you need to get your thread underneath this piece right here. It's easy to do. Just kind of hold the bobbin, the back of the bobbin here, just kind of hold it with your fingers so it doesn't move, and then take your thread and you're literally gonna pull it until it slides in there, okay? It's probably gonna stop a little bit. It's gonna stop short of where you need it to go, okay? Once it stops short, just pull it down like that and it snaps right on in there. Did you see that? I'll do it one more time, okay? Let me get this back out. Pull that out. We'll do this one more time. Okay, so you're at 6 o'clock. You're making a figure 6. You're gonna drop this bobbin right on top of there. You're gonna come over here and turn it just ever so slightly and find that notch right here. Slide it right in there. Hold the back with your finger. Take your thread right here. Pull it so it slides underneath this little area here, and then you haven't quite finished yet because you need to go down and pull it. So now it's in there good, okay? So once you have that in there, just drop your thread so it's on the left side, okay? You're gonna take it and you're going to place it back on here. You're going to take this little hook, open it up, push your bobbin back in. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way so you can kind of see it and get a real good close-up. So now that that is in there, we're going to zoom out just a tad, okay? So now our goal is to get this pink thread up underneath this plate, okay? You don't thread it yourself. You're gonna let the machine thread it. Do not use your foot for this next process. Your floor foot. Do not use that. You're gonna use your wheel. So you're gonna turn your wheel with your right hand, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the needle here that has the red thread, and we're actually going to turn the wheel towards us so that this needle is going to go down, and what it's going to do is it's going to grab this pink thread. So as you see me turn the wheel and drop the needle down, you're going to see this red thread, you're going to see the red thread, not the needle, come down, and it's literally going to it's super cool. It's going to show up miraculously, and it's going to sweep across the face of this, and it's going to grab this pink thread, and it's going to lift it on up underneath this plate. So we're going to do this. It's kind of a fast process. You can't do it too slow. So just keep watching over here. You're going to see the red thread sweep across and grab this, and then you're going to see it come up underneath this plate. So we're going to give this a try right now. All right, bringing the wheel towards us, down, keep going down. Here comes the thread. There it goes, if you see it, and it's going to come right on up. There it is, right there. We're going to do that again because I was accidentally holding on to the pink thread. Okay, we're going to try that again, and my fault for holding on to the pink thread. You just want to lightly hold on to the pink thread here. So we're going to try this again. You're going to take your wheel and you're going to draw it towards you. So start turning it towards you. It's going to drop the needle down. The red thread is then going to go down, and it's going to swoop right across the front here. It's going to grab this pink thread, and if you're not holding on to it like I was, it'll shoot right up underneath the plate there. Okay, so here we go. We're going to bring it down. There it goes. And then you're going to grab it and bring it through just like that. One more time. I'll try to do it slow here. I'll stop it halfway. Okay. Do it one more time. So bring it towards you, towards you. Here it comes. The red thread, can you see it? It's right here. It's bringing it towards you. It just looped under, and it's going to keep going. See how it's lifting up that pink thread? Once it lifts up that pink thread, you can then pull on this. It doesn't like it when you go slow. Oh, there it goes. So that's why it likes you to go kind of quick when you do this. So you're just going to drop it down, let it swoop over, and let it draw on up. So now that we have our bobbin threaded, we can go ahead and close the cover here, and we can put our arm back on, and we will go through a couple of stitches and get you on your way. Okay, now that you're all set up with properly threading the machine, it's time to start actually sewing. So your machine actually comes with 24 different stitches, okay? Each stitch has a letter, that is indicated right above it. So if you want a straight stitch, that's A and B. And then you've got a zigzag for C and D, and so forth. So in order to get the different stitches, you'll always want to make sure that your needle is in the upright position. So needle in the upright position, and your foot is up. Once your needle is up, and again, you can just turn this to make sure that it's already in the upright position. So let's say you wanted stitch A, just a regular straight stitch. So you're going to turn this dial right here to A. So this green right here, 1 through 4, is all of your green stitches right here. So when you pick a stitch that you want, so let's say A is what you want, you're going to turn this dial so it's on A. So every time you adjust this dial, you're going to see your needle move. That's why it's important to keep your needle in the upright position, because if it's down, it's going to get stuck inside this little foot here, or it's not going to be able to move. So that's why you want your needle up. So you put it in position A, and then 1 through 4 here is your length of your stitch. So if you're down here in the green or down here in the 0, your stitch is just going to be on top of each other. Your feeder here is not going to go anywhere. So you at least need it up here, 1 through 4. So depending on the length of stitch that you want, you can adjust this. 1 being very close stitch to 4 being a little bit longer in between each stitches. So you also have your tension here. If you start noticing that your threads, that your stitches are loose on the back or on the top, that's where you're going to adjust this. 5, 4, and 3 are pretty standard when it comes to your tension, but depending on different fabrics, you may have to adjust this. So it's just going to take a little bit of playing around to find the exact stitch that you want. But when you want a different stitch like B, you just slide this over to B. I'll do that again. See, as each time you move it, the needle moves with it. So you've got several different stitches that you can work with, which kind of makes it fun, because the zigzags are fun. Your over stitch, anytime you're doing stitches on your like the edges of blankets and stuff like that, that's a nice stitch. So you've got a couple different options, and I would suggest going through those. I did a couple of all of the stitches that you had here. So like this was one of the zigzag stitches, and as you zigzag, if you want the stitch, depending if you want the stitch close together like this or farther apart, that's where this is going to play a role in. Your straight stitch is here. You just go in, and then your length in between each stitch also depends on where you decide you want to position that. So I just played around with all the different stitches, getting them close, just adjusting this 1 through 4, adjusting the tension. And so it's really good if you just grab some fabric. Always have some, at Walmart, you can get some fat quarters, or wherever you want to get fat quarters at, for like 97 cents. You can get a fat quarter. And I have one here that you can get, just a little Waverly one. And these were 97 cents. It's really inexpensive fabric, good for practicing on. Keep any of your leftover scraps is good too. Don't throw them away, because it's always nice to have just some extra pieces like I did here to be able to practice different stitches before you get right into a heavy project. So anyway, I went through, did several of these stitches. As you're sewing along, this is your reverse button. So let me do this, and I'll pop this in here. You're going to want to, you have measurements on the side here, so depending on where you want to start stitching, how far over, you can line it up with this guide right here. But very simply, I'm going to zoom in just a tad. We're going to, let's go to C here for a second. We'll go on C. We'll leave it there. We'll have our tension set about there, and we'll see what we accomplish. Let's zoom in just a tad so you can see a little bit better. You're going to drop your foot down right here. That's going to hold your fabric in place, okay? Once you have your fabric in place, you're going to press your foot, the foot that's on the floor, and you're just going to slowly push the foot. Okay, once you get done with that stitch, you're going to turn your dial towards you to lift up the needle. Once your needle is all the way up, just bring your foot up and you're going to gently pull. If it's hard to pull, just turn your wheel a little bit, and that'll bring it up a little bit more and make it easier to pull it out. So you have a little cute little zigzag there. I'll show you reverse. So we're going to cut off the fabric, or the threads here. We're going to drop that in, lower that, and now I'm going to adjust to A. Let's bring that back. So I adjusted this to A. We're going to leave that there. We'll leave everything the same there. Drop the foot. We're going to go forward, just doing a simple stitch. If you want to turn a corner, bring your needle down, lift up so it releases the foot here. Your needle's down so your fabric's not going to go anywhere. Turn your fabric, drop that back down, and you're ready to go for the next run. Okay, bring the needle down, lift the foot, turn it one more time. When you get to the end of a project, instead of just taking out your fabric and clipping off the thread, you'll want to back stitch. You're going to use this button right here to back stitch, and you have to push it all the way down. You push it all the way down, that reverses it, lift it back up, and go forward again. Okay? That just kind of ends the stitch and it's not going to break apart. Lift that up, pull out your thread. You may have to adjust your wheel, cut it off, and you just sewed all around here. Let me back out a little bit. And then on the back, you can see your pink stitch right here. So you've just stitched all the way around, and that's a pretty good, the tension was good on that. See, it's got a nice clean stitch there. So very simple to do. I think it's just a matter of playing around with the different stitches. You'll have a lot of fun with that. Also, for paper crafters, if you want to stitch on paper, you can. Let's do a zigzag on some paper. So you're going to make sure that your needle is all the way up. We're going to go to C, which is right there. We're going to drop that down, and we're going to just start stitching on paper. Paper's a little different because it wants to move around a little bit underneath the foot. It doesn't hold it quite as tight as fabric. You're also going to notice when you sew on fabric, depending on how thick the fabric is, it does make a big difference on what your stitches look like. So let's lift that up, pull this out, take that off, and that's what that looks like. So cute little zigzag there, and on the back you can see the white. So on paper you might have to adjust the tension a little bit. If the tension's too tight on here, so the higher the number, the tighter the tension is, it'll probably pull the bottom thread through on that. So we can try a different one. Let's cut off these ends here. Let's keep that up and pick a different stitch. So we'll just do a straight stitch on that. So we'll do a nice long stitch, and we'll see what that looks like. We'll go to 4 on that. Drop that down. See how my paper's wiggling around a little bit? It's kind of hard to hold it down. But you lift that up, bring your needle all the way up, pull that out, cut it, and there's your straight stitch on there. So not too bad on that one either. So kind of fun to do. It's just a matter of getting familiar with the machine and having fun and playing around with it. Sometimes your threads will get tangled up, or it might jam underneath it. You know, just remember all the steps that I showed you as far as removing the arm, pulling this open. It might get tangled under here. It happens. You just have to take this apart and fish it out. These two things do, if you get a major jam in there, these two things do lift up, and this whole unit comes out, okay? Just remember you got to put it back. So normally you wouldn't have to take that apart, but sometimes when you're doing some heavier fabrics, the depending on your thread, depending on your needle, sometimes it will jam up on you. Don't panic. It's an easy fix, but it does sometimes get frustrating. So play around with your machine, have fun with it. If I can help with anything, just let me know, and I hope you enjoy your Christmas present.